Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Journeys Unpacked. Today, I am so pleased to welcome our dear guest, Sandeep Walia, who is the Chief Operating Officer of Marriott in the Middle East. Sandeep, welcome. Great to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me here. It was really a great start to go around this innovation hub and lab and see the different components. Truly inspiring.
Thank you. It's great to have you here. We're super proud of it, and it's great to be able to see a little bit of the future. Let's
Absolutely.
put it that way. And so, Sandeep, in your role, you oversee a lot of different countries, and you're constantly in the rhythm of tourism, of what's happening, and of how the world is developing. What we see is, there's a few consistent themes across in the space. We see an absolute rise in sustainable, ethical, and really, really unique tourism experiences, right? So things that are authentic as opposed to generic. The second thing that at least that we're seeing across broadly is around the much larger stays. So it's no longer very short, quick in and out, but, workations where people go for much longer, or, where digital nomads, where they stay in one place, work in a different place. So there's just much longer stays. And then the third thing we're seeing a lot of is data, digital, personalized experiences. So I'm wondering if you see these, and if you do, how you're dealing with some of these.
Sure. So I think we kind of seeing the fact that more and more people are realizing that travel is educational, it's inspiring, it's part of well-being. That on one side. And the second, the fact that a trend that started even a few years back, if I may say pre-COVID, was the fact that a lot of people are moving from product to experiences. And I think both these things have only got exaggerated or fastened after COVID. Thank God I can say post-COVID. But we've seen a lot of travel. So if you look at our region, Middle East, where we are today about 240 hotels. And what's nice to see is about 140 more projects in the making. So the growth is good, and that kind of certainly justifies what we just spoke about. And it's in all the segments. We have it in the luxury space, premium, select, whether it is resorts in terms of a leisure space, business hotels. And also, you mentioned about long stay. I would even extend it further and say residences. So we're seeing it across the three. But there are 5 trends we have seen. So the first clearly is sustainability, which you just mentioned about. More and more companies, more and more people, more and more travelers. And the good thing is more and more associates, our own people, want to be a part of this journey. And if you say, what is the biggest thing which has made them realize that? The biggest answer we got was weather conditions. People are feeling it and seeing it and saying, oh God, we need to do something about sustainability. So it's becoming more real.
Yeah.
So I would say that's one trend we are seeing, and we can talk in detail about what we'll be doing about it.
Yeah.
The second I'm going to talk about is authenticity. People want more local, authentic experiences. To kind of make it a bit more real.
Yeah.
You go to Saudi today, people want, if they are welcomed by a Saudi national, it kind of adds to the authenticity. So if you see Egypt or Turkey, it's 99% of our teams are local. So that authenticity is what they're looking for, both in terms of people, experiences. Earlier, a lot of our brands, we spoke about the fact that how the design of the room should be consistent. Now we talk about it should be where it is. There should be something local in the room. So that authentic piece is gaining ground. So that's something which we are certainly seeing. Third, I would say is a lot to do with tech, which we're going to talk about it again, I guess, a bit. But it's a lot of things related to artificial intelligence and how we can connect everything on tech. I would kind of divide it into 3. So it's like the journey where you haven't decided as yet. You're kind of saying, okay, chat GPT or something else, where shall I go? This is what I want to do. And we are bringing it to our world too. So if you're a Marriott Bonvoy member, which I believe you are, You kind of have the app and you're saying, put in a beach vacation and it'll give you different options. So you're starting with that pre-journey itself. And then when you go in, it's kind of giving you different hotel options and kind of bringing you to the ecosystem before you even thought of booking the hotel. Let's maybe continue on the Bonvoy app for a minute through the journey. So that's the pre. You've decided you can book on that app. You've got your credit card by Visa on that. Then you've kind of booked it. It picks up your likes and dislikes. You can chat with somebody in the hotel through the app. You've now, the day of arrival, you've got the pre-arrival note. You can choose higher floor. You can give your preference of a pillow you want. It's that whole seamless flow of things. And at the hotel, it is that you're arriving and we know what you like. So we are able to personalize your stay. If you don't want to go to the check-in counter, you could just check in online, use your phone as a key, and then order online. Or you've landed at the airport, you want to order a soup, you've ordered, and by the time you get to the room, the soup is there. And till the checkout, the whole thing works. So I think the tech piece is becoming more and more important. And that's going to continue. Interesting, we've also seen something towards what you mentioned, we're calling it slow travel. Okay. I'll kind of bucket two into it: slow travel and solo travel. And one is slow in the sense that people want to take, even if it's fewer vacations, go and spend more time. And I think it started, during the pandemic, that you kind of can work from anywhere. This whole leisure part happened, and that's continued. So it's a bit of slow travel, connecting with where you are. So therefore, taking the time and not being in a rush in and out. We're seeing a lot of that. And going with that, a lot of people want to kind of even just travel alone. So there's a lot of travel with family and families for the longer part and residences or long stay. But there's also the people are saying, let me just travel alone and get a feel of the local place, connect with myself. Now, how much they manage to connect with tech or disconnect with tech is different, but at least people are saying that's what they would like to do. So that's another big trend that we are seeing. So it kind of resonates to the different pieces that you mentioned.
That's a lot to unpack.
Yes, absolutely.
Indeed.
Exciting times.
It is exciting times. And I think a lot of what you said just resonates, right? And if I think about the authentic piece and I just reflect on it. So yes, been a member for 20 years. So
Excellent.
have seen the properties grow and evolve. And what I'm always amazed by is when I now go and I try to book something, I see not 20 variants of the same chains that we all know and we see everywhere, but very clearly we see things that are unique, right? Like the autograph collection or unique properties, right? There's just, you go there and we were in Portugal, we went there, and there's a property which has a certain number of hotel rooms there. You're not going to find a property like that anywhere else in the world. It is themed entirely in the local culture. It is manned entirely by locals. So it's really a delight, as you said, to find some of these authentic experiences that, frankly, I think maybe 30, 40 years ago, we weren't seeing as much of. If we take this and we zoom in a little bit on what's happening today and what's happening, especially in our part of the world. I mean, you said 240 properties here. That's a big number. Dubai alone welcomed 5 million tourists in the last quarter. So there's a lot happening. There's a lot happening in this space. How are you dealing with some of those tourist inflows, and how are you catering to this ever-growing demand of incoming tourists into the region?
I would say, first of all, when we look at the region, there are 3 big markets for us. And this is not to underestimate the 10 countries we are present in the Middle East, but the top 3 would be UAE, Saudi Arabia, and Turkey. In fact, we've already crossed about 80 hotels in UAE, and 57 are in Dubai, to your point of how many tourists are coming to Dubai. So, and it's within our Marriott portfolio, which is around getting close to 9,000 hotels. If you had to go outside the US, it is the highest number of hotels in a city, 57. So UAE is certainly a big market for us. We've already crossed 100 number of opened and signed hotels. One, we felt that we need to cater to every market. Yes, there is a very big growing market in luxury, but they're equally people who are inspired to travel at different budget points. Yeah. So we're fortunate that we are today have more than 31 brands in all the different segments. I think that helps us to cater to every need, and we have something for everybody. The second certainly is food and beverage. So when they come, they want to kind of experience different F&B, and we made that a big focus for us. So we have about 800 restaurants in Middle East, and 350 are in UAE. So to your question, so there is a lot of focus on F&B because more and more people want different dining experiences. So that's something which we are looking at for sure to be ready for the consumers to come in. But I want to kind of talk about one of the most important things for me in this whole equation, and that's about people. End of the day, it's a very people-focused business. We can talk about brands, talk about our culture, talk about philosophy, but end of the day, let's take one example. We have a hotel; it's 300 rooms. You'll at least have 500, team working in that hotel. Every person is going to meet at least 2 to 3 guests. Yeah, you're talking 15,000 connection or engagements. Yeah, multiply that 15,000 by 240 hotels, and soon you're going to get into amazing number of engagements. Each engagement, either you're adding value to that brand, to that hotel. Yeah. And every time, unfortunately, and hopefully not, something goes wrong, you're taking it away. Yeah. And guess what? Things will go wrong as far as we can correct them. So that's the power of people delivering in our business.
That's a really, really nice way of putting it. And I couldn't agree with you more. It's so much about the people, right? And if I think of some of the most memorable experiences that we've had at properties, it's people. And I have to share it. So in my past life as a consultant, I used to stay at several properties. One particular of your properties I spent a little over a year at. I left that city. I went back about 6 years later. And I went back to that property. And I kid you not, 5 different people recognized me and said hello by name. That impression, it will remain forever. So whenever I go back to that city, I always make it a point to stay at that hotel. And even though those people are no longer there, it's just, as you said, the connection that you have with that particular thing because of all those incredible experiences. It's just, I think it will supersede and it will stay. 800 restaurants is a lot. Almost half of them in the country. I mean, that's just a whole number of restaurants to keep going. How do you think about F&B? How do you think about how that adds to the overall experiences? And how do you continuously innovate in that space to keep it exciting and interesting for, I guess, both your visitors who stay with you, but equally for others who live in Dubai or in the other cities where you are?
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right to your previous number that it's the number of visitors have increased in Dubai and in UAE. And when they're coming, of course, the room is a big component of the hotel because they're staying in it's their personal space when they've come out of home. But after that, it's the dining experiences. It's the food and beverage and what they're going to experience in terms of both food and beverage. And that's changing and evolving a lot. Yeah. So it's one of the travelers. Now look at UAE. It's one of the youngest, if not the youngest country in the world. The last stat I read said it's only 1% of the people are above the age of 65. Then you add the number of Emiratis who are also traveling out a lot and coming back and kind of saying, okay, I like that cuisine, I want to kind of try. And the number of expatriates that are there in the country, all that you kind of put it into a blender, it's clear food and beverage is important. Yeah. But we're looking at it from doing different concepts, different kind of bringing that original discussion of authenticity back, that it needs to be very, very authentic in terms of what the food offerings are and the fact that the service is good. I mean, both together kind of add to what they're looking for.
Now, I know we are co-brand partners in many, many different geographies. We have co-brand cards that we issue together with our other issuing partners. But I'm curious, how does that fit into your universe of loyalty? And how do you use that to, again, make sure that you connect with your most loyal consumers and help your most loyal consumers get the most out of their experiences with the Marriott and Bonvoy brand?
Sure. I'm sure we're kind of seeing good results together in Qatar, for where we have launched our card together. One, I think everybody is moving towards cashless transaction. It's easier, it's quicker, it's a good way to kind of see that your transactions are getting recorded for all kind of expense reports you want, or other tracking that you want to keep. So we're seeing more and more people use card, and that's kind of benefiting. But it brings the guest back into the ecosystem of what I just spoke in terms of loyalty. So yes, you're getting your points on staying, but now you're also getting points on a co-branded credit card where you're getting, whatever the scheme might be in terms of double the points, or you're getting rewarded for spending on that card. And that's exactly what we've seen in Qatar when we together launched our co-branded credit card recently, that people are using more of that and kind of getting into the ecosystem. So I think it kind of brings it all together.
Yeah, it's a nice little wrapper to put everything together. No, fully agree. You've talked a couple of times about the importance of technology, the importance of just data and innovation in your space. I mean, of course, this is something that is top of mind for us too. And as we think through, I think innovation, change, technology is at the core of making sure we evolve and change our businesses as we go forward. So it would be good to understand, what are perhaps some of the ways in which you're using this for your business? And I know you mentioned the app and going from inspiration to actually booking to experiencing and engaging and even post-journey. But it would be good to just understand how you see how you're seeing and using innovation technology in, yes, your experiences, your consumer touch points, as well as perhaps some of the properties.
Sure. I think first I would say that, we did a study with all our Bonvoy members. And if you zone down back to Middle East, a lot of them being based out of UAE and Saudi, more than 50% of them said they've used a chat GPT or a AI-led site to kind of decide where they want to go. And 70% said, we are going to use. So I think it's only growing. But I would just want to zone down on the fact that you spoke about two words, innovation and tech. But for our industry, yes, it is about innovation and tech, and seeing we're in fact working on a big rollout of a project where we are talking that everything is seamless between three partners or three stakeholders, meaning our people, our associates, the guests, and the business as a whole with owners who own hotels.
Yeah.
Everything should kind of be coming together. But while we're doing this project, what I want to also talk about is that innovation is not only tech. We're not a tech company as such. End of the day, I emphasize the point about people. Yes. So end of the day, people need to deliver that experience. So I think innovation is coming in different ways. Now let's say we spoke about authenticity. Innovative now, overusing the word, but we've come up with a program with Cornell University in Saudi. So we saw that we need to get a lot of Saudi people citizens to kind of be a part of our hotels. So today, when we have 39 hotels open, 45% almost of our people are locals. But we are doing this through a program we did with Cornell, where it's a 2-year program. You go through it. Cornell does the theoretical. We do the practical on the floor internship. Okay. And at the end, you're able to join us. Now, that's helping us to get more people. And for me, that's kind of being innovative too, to say, how do we keep bringing in more of what we want, authenticity? We spoke about sustainability. And what are we doing innovative in our space to bring that back? So for example, we just opened the first resort hotels in Red Sea, the St. Regis, and it's 100% renewable energy. It's not 10, 15, 20, 50, 60, it's 100%. So, in fact, I was laughing with the GM. I said, in the P&L statement, there is no power cost, and that's true. It's all solar. But I think it's also going to be, what do we do, not only on the new projects, but also the current ones, because that's going to be testing for us. So that's what we're doing, kind of seeing different ways of saying that, how do we get renewable energy projects into our hotels? So every trend you see needs some form of innovation. So while it's tech, but being such a people-focused business, I think that plays a role as well. And I think the last example I would share, maybe not the last, one of the examples about people would be something called iJobs. So what is iJobs? It's about the fact that if I say, Sandeep, I'm working in the rooms department, what happens? Normally the check-ins are a lot in the morning, checkouts are a little bit in the afternoon. The restaurants are more busy in the evening and kind of during the breakfast time. We need to find a way that people move from one discipline to the other. So we came up with a program where we said, I would be trained as Sandeep in rooms on every aspect of the business. So I could be taken to any part of, and we call it iJobs. But we today in the region are about more than 80% of the people in our hotels are iJob trained. So they can do any work at any time. So it's growth, but it's also kind of seeing how you address different peak times.
If we take innovation, and we just talk about this a little bit more, and if we take hoteliering and payments and we put the two together, I'm curious, how have payments in your business changed over the last few years? Consumers, be it paying for their bills or be tipping staff, or how has that evolved over the years?
I would say one that we're finding people being, our guests being more comfortable, not coming to the reception to check out more and more. That's increasing. I must give a caveat here that it needs to be a guest choice, whether you want to check in at the counter or just do it on your app. But the guest is the one to decide. We give both choices. But it's increasing slowly how many people are getting comfortable just checking out on the app because of the credit card details being there. And how stringent we are on the security piece of the credit card, that people feel comfortable that they don't need to, they can take this one step away and value their time more. So that's one thing for sure we have seen that comfort come in. We are looking at how we can get into e-tipping as well, because yes, a lot of people are going to the restaurant and tipping on the check itself. A lot of people don't carry cash anymore during checkout; they just kind of leave it on the reception on the bill itself. But we're looking at how we get into that space that while leaving, even if you don't want to go to the counter, you don't want to kind of put it on the app on the bill. You're able to do it without that. So that's some space that we're trying to see how we can get into as well.
Okay. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I'm certainly one of those who would prefer to check out on the app as much as possible. Just put in my Visa card and then it's done. It's faster. It's seamless.
Absolutely.
I know it's a secure transaction, so you don't even have to worry about it, and you don't have. It's quick. Tipping is you're right, that's, I think, still in progress. I've seen some hotel rooms where you see a QR code or perhaps some other way of being able to tip. And I think it would be great whenever we roll that out. So earlier we talked a little bit about luxury and how important luxury is, and it's becoming an even more important part of the offering. How is our region doing with the luxury hotels? Do you see the same trend here? Do you see more and more people staying there? Do you see more luxury hotels? Talk to us a little bit about that.
Absolutely, yes. To all the different questions. So globally, if you look at it, we today have over 510 luxury hotels. We have luxury in different trends in terms of, we have the classic luxury, which is like the St. Regis and Ritz-Carlton. We, of course, have the Bulgari too, which is a partnership with Bulgari. We have something in the lifestyle space with Edition and W. We have a collection brand, which kind of leans towards more authenticity of the local place. So we have the luxury collection brand. And then we have the JWs. So it's kind of, we have a huge range of luxury brands, and that's 510 hotels. Luxury is doing very well in our region, I must say. If I look at the city of Dubai itself, where we are sitting today, it is one of the cities with the largest number of luxury hotels. It might surprise you that we have more luxury hotels in Dubai than a city like New York, London. So absolutely yes to that answer. And even when we look at the growth, so I mentioned initially that we have about 140 projects. A big chunk of that is coming from Saudi Arabia, as you can expect from the different giga projects, be it Red Sea, Neom, the Raya Gate, or Rural Medina. And more than 40% of the growth in those projects are all in the luxury space. And it's growing. And I think it's going back to that original conversation where we said product luxury is moving a lot to experiential luxury. Right. Even if you look at the very traditional luxury brands today, you'll see a lot of partnerships happening. Different luxury brands are getting into branded beach kind of activations or an airport lounge, or how can they bring that product or that brand into a form of experience? Yes, it's the experience in the store when you go in, but everybody's trying to go out to say, how do they become a part of the experience outside? So it clearly indicates what I'm trying to say, that product is moving to experiences.
You have an amazing portfolio of properties already today, and I think you have close to 100 or so that are upcoming. Which are the ones that are the most exciting and the ones that are perhaps the ones that you're really looking forward to opening up?
First of all children are equal. But I think if you look at growth today, there are a lot of countries that have, if I may say, have traveled a long journey. They continue, like UAE. We today have about 80 hotels. But there's so much more excitement with, for example, Russell Khema now with the whole development happening there. So a lot of countries have traveled a route and still a long way to go. And it continues to be buzzing. But some parts of the world have just got started in terms of discovering different new places in their own country. And Saudi is one like that. I was speaking earlier about the giga projects. And we are fortunate that we've got this opportunity to be the first few in every giga project. So to answer your question, these different projects really excite me because they're in places where there is nothing right now. It's pure. To a trend where people want to go to new places and discover this is new. For example, we just recently opened the Ritz-Carlton Reserve in the Red Sea, which is a space where nobody has gone before, and to explore what is below those waters is exciting. And then we would continue this journey with the country where the Diriyah Gate, which is kind of where the whole country was born. The first hotel opening is the Luxury Collection. So all these different places where things didn't exist in terms of having access to people, that excites me a lot. I think it's more opportunities for the guests, but also opportunity for our own people to grow and develop.
Yeah, going back to the whole theme of being authentic, right? There's something really authentic about being in a place which hasn't been exposed for a very long time. So wonderful. It's been great chatting with you, Sandeep.
Thank you
Such
so
a
much.
pleasure.
Thank you. I must end by saying that I often get asked what's a successful hotel. And we can talk about a lot of things. And we spoke about a GM, the focus on guest. We often talk about location. But for me, I would also say that one very big box and component is partnerships. And I just want to take this opportunity to thank you to be a big partner of ours.
Thank you. Look forward to many more.
Thank
you. Until next time, when we meet on the next great episode of Journeys Unpacked.